Hello, I'm Todd Botshire. I'm the manager and curator of the Gold Mining Camp Museum at Monroe Park. Thank you for joining me on my continuing tour of the historic sites of the Fauquier County Parks and Recreation Department. Today I am in front of the red caboose on the Warrenton Brach Greenway. The Greenway is the foundation of the Fauquier County Parks trail system and has a very interesting history of its own. So let's go take a look at that history. The Warrenton Brach Greenway, the cornerstone of Fauquier County's trail system, currently runs 1.5 miles from the center of Old Town Warrenton, crossing the Route 29 bypass to Old Metz Road. Plans call for the Greenway to expand another 3 miles, eventually connecting with Lord Fairfax Community College and the department's new Central Sports Complex. In the 1840s, railroads began replacing canals and turnpikes as the preferred method to move people and goods long distances. In 1848, the Orange and Alexandria Railroad was incorporated to link the two named towns, with the intention to connect to each county seat along the way. Steep grades around Warrenton caused this plan to be abandoned in Fauquier County. Upset Warrenton residents demanded a railroad stop for their town, and the Warrenton Branch, which connected Warrenton to the main line at Warrenton Junction, now called Calverton, was offered as a compromise. The Warrenton Branch was completed in 1852, and the main Orange and Alexandria line reached Gordonsville in 1854, where it then connected with the Central Virginia Railroad. In 1860, an additional line was built connecting Charlottesville to Lynchburg. The railway network was important to the Virginia economy. Farmers from Virginia's Piedmont region and the Shenandoah Valley could ship their products to Washington, D.C., Richmond, and to ocean-going vessels in Alexandria. And passengers could travel from Lynchburg to Washington, D.C. in 8 hours instead of 3 days on the turnpike. The first notable person to travel the Warrenton Branch was U.S. President Franklin Pierce, who arrived in Warrenton via the railroad in order to visit the countryside for some rest and relaxation, early in his term as president. Not too long after, the Orange and Alexandria lines were used by both Confederate and Union armies to move troops and supplies throughout northern Virginia. Since the main line ran through much disputed territory, it was the scene of many clashes. The Warrenton Branch line figured in 2 skirmishes. In May 1863, Colonel John Mosby's raiders attacked a Union encampment at Warrenton Junction, but were eventually driven off. And in January 1864, a detachment of Mosby's men attacked a Union regiment guarding the tracks outside of Warrenton, capturing 25 men and 45 horses. These battles were not the last time Mosby was connected to the Warrenton Branch. In 1866, he returned to Warrenton to practice law, but his close ties to Ulysses S. Grant made him unpopular with the locals. In 1878, after disembarking from the train at the Warrenton Depot, someone tried to assassinate him. Soon after, he moved to Washington, D.C. and was appointed consul to Hong Kong by Republican President Rutherford B. Hayes. Finally, upon his death in 1916, Mosby's body was brought back to Warrenton via the Warrenton Branch. By the end of the Civil War, the Virginia rail system was left in shambles. Rebuilding the system was an expensive undertaking, accomplished by the merging of many of the former independent lines, a process that led to the establishment of the Southern Railway System in 1894. Eventually, nearly 150 lines from all over the South had been absorbed into the Southern Railway. In 1982, the Southern merged with the Norfolk and Western Railway to form the Norfolk Southern Railroad. In 1909, the Warrenton Depot was renovated and used by passengers and for freight, while additional services such as special event and excursion trains were added in an attempt to boost ridership. It is said that William Jennings Bryan arrived in Warrenton by train in the early 1900s to hold a Chautauqua meeting, and that Eleanor Roosevelt took the Warrenton branch in the 1930s to meet with the women of Fauquier. By 1923, 5 trains each day were running between Warrenton and Calverton. After that, things started to go downhill. In 1926, the Warrenton Depot was badly damaged by fire, and on top of that, due to the Great Depression in the 1930s, Southern Railway had to cut costs. By 1938, Sunday passenger service was discontinued, and in 1941, passenger service had been eliminated altogether, and freight trains used the line less and less frequently. When the eastern bypass of Route 29 was built in the mid-1980s, the Virginia Department of Transportation was required to build a railroad bridge over the highway, but it was used only once, before that section of line between Warrenton and a local quarry was abandoned in 1989. In 1993, a partnership between the Fauquier County Parks and Recreation Department, the town of Warrenton, and the Fauquier Trails Coalition applied for a federal grant which was used to acquire the right-of-way of the old rail line and to design and build a greenway trail from the depot to Old Metz Road. Because of this effort, the section of Warrenton Branch that ran through downtown Warrenton was converted into a public greenway. The history of the branch can still be seen in the depot building, which today is a restaurant, a fully restored Norfolk and Western red caboose that sits at the side of the trail, and an uncovered turntable foundation. The Warrenton Branch Greenway is open daily from dawn to dusk, and the Caboose is open to tours on a regular basis. Thank you for watching this video on the history of the Warrenton Branch Greenway. I hope you learned something about the history of Fauquier and of Warrenton. If you have any other questions or need some more information, go to recreation.fauquiercounty.gov. And once again, I hope to see you at one of our local parks soon.